Okay, let's talk about Yellowjackets season 3, episode 9. We got an episode left, y'all. It's time. It's almost time to let go of the Yellowjackets for at least a year. Hopefully, we get that season 4 announcement pretty soon because I'm a little worried. But we were supposed to go for 5 seasons. We'll see what happens and if they announce this is the final season coming up or if we have one more. So I did make a pick, girl, and I did make a Antler Queen theory video yesterday. If you want to go check that out, and we're just here theorizing, talking about the ending, breaking it down, all that good stuff. So hit that subscribe button, hit the notification bell. We got the finale next week, and we got a ton of videos we're going to be doing for that as well. So we're going to go out big with Yellowjackets season 3 and anticipate season 4. So let's get into what happened this episode and all of that. So let's get into it. So Misty and Van and Ty go to find Shauna, right? That's what we see at the beginning of this episode. But we also see that Van is sort of having a premonition of sorts with her younger self, who tells her, you know, like the Goonies movie, go find that treasure, X marks the spot. So Van gets a little bit of a jolt of sorts, and she's able to get out of the hospital bed, and her, Misty, and Ty go to find Shauna, who of course is in Melissa's home right now. So we see that Melissa and also Shauna are still struggling, and Shauna is forcing her to eat a piece of her arm, and it is just insane seeing Shauna like this, right? Like I've said it before, we see Shauna each and every episode spiraling even more and becoming much more of a quote-unquote villain, especially in the teen timeline. But we'll talk about the teen timeline in a bit. We're just going to go through the adult timeline almost to the end. So we see that Shauna makes Melissa eat her own skin, and Melissa does so, but then spits it in Shauna's face and is able to use this as a distraction in order to get the hell out of there. But we quickly see that Melissa ain't going to go too far. She's out of gas, y'all. She should have put the gas like her wife had told her. And we see that Misty, Van, and Ty come across her, and Misty's like, wait, is that fucking Melissa, right? And it was just hilarious seeing that right there. They eventually grab her, and Van sees X marks the spot. This is the spot where she was going to find her, right? Because it's like a railroad crossing. We don't know much more if all of the supernatural stuff or these premonitions are real, right? And I like how Yellowjackets keeps doing that, but at a point I'm just like, please tell me what is going on, right? But of course, we'll probably get answers pretty soon, as they say at the end of this episode. What we see is all of them go back to Melissa's house, where Shauna's like, yeah, I did this and I need y'all's help, covered in blood, of course, which makes Misty get even more pissed, because even she herself said, okay, Melissa didn't do the freezer thing. It was me. I knew it was broken, and I wanted you to have some solitude by yourself. So I'm out. I'm not helping you clean no more messes. So Misty's out of there. And I was just happy for Misty to finally stand up for herself and be like, I'm done with Shauna's craziness, right? Misty leaves, Van and Ty stay, and Melissa gets tied up. So we have Melissa tied up, and we have Van, Ty, and Shauna wondering, what do we do now? We eventually hear that Ty says, I don't want this to turn into an Adam situation, which Melissa is like, what, you already killed somebody else already too, and they had to clean it up for you. So Shauna's clearly not the biggest fan that this was revealed, and says, now I really have to kill her, because she knows this as well. So we see that Melissa starts to mess with the fireplace, closing the flue of the fireplace, which will cause smoke to come in and gas and all of that. Knocking everybody unconscious is what she wants to do. We see that Van during this moment decides to go out to the car and get some fresh air. It seems that she is starting to lose that steam, sort of that jolt she had at first in the episode, and needs a breather. Now, when Van comes back in, she sees that everybody is like knocked out unconscious, right? And that they need her help. So she starts getting everybody out. Now, on the other side of things, we catch up with Misty and Walter. Walter came in like flexing on this like helicopter, and we were just like, what the hell? Walter's been getting into some shit, right? And him and Misty go back to his place. They enjoy some chocolate cocktails when we hear Misty ask about Lottie's cloned phone that Walter said he did have, which he gives to her, and in a distraction she causes, is able to flee with it after she sees something very incriminating, it seems, in it when she's looking through the photos, which I'm very curious as to what that is. We don't know what it is until the next episode. So in the teen timeline, of course, we know it ended with Shauna not letting the group escape with Cody. She says it doesn't feel right, and Ty as well agrees, and Lottie says that the wilderness doesn't want them to leave. So the group is clearly divided now, with some of them deciding, yeah, we'll stay, I guess, and some of them saying, no, we're not staying, which of course is led by Natalie. And I was so surprised that Natalie was able to forfeit the gun that quickly to Shauna, and kind of pissed. Shauna's pissing me off this season, y'all. Like, everything she's doing, I'm just like, why? But, you know, some of the teammates feel Shauna's right. Some of the teammates feel that Natalie and the rest are right. So we see a clear divide going on here. Jen and also Akila, and we see Mari are kind of on like the sense that, you know what, I don't think we should trust Shauna, and them and Natalie are devising a plan. Misty's kind of in the middle. She's kind of trying to flip-flop between them and tries to get on Shauna's good side by saying, hey, I'll try to infiltrate that group and see what they're up to, and then we can know, right? Because Shauna's getting paranoid and she feels everybody's plotting something against her. So we do see that Misty tries, but of course fails because the group's like, hey, we can't trust you. You were just on Team Crazy over there, so get out of here. And we also see that Teen Van is kind of in the middle as well, as she's talking to Thaisa and trying to figure out what's the move here. She says winter's coming, and I don't think that we should keep surviving by eating people and sacrificing and all of this, which Ty only says, I'll keep you safe and we'll both be safe. We've been playing with the cards, trying to figure it out. As long as we keep practicing, we will both be safe. So it sounds like they're trying to rig these things now and trying to sort of make it that they can both survive, but actually they will sacrifice somebody if they have to. But Van and Ty are not going to get the Queen of Hearts, it sounds, in the near future. We also have Travis, who seems to be spiraling due to everything that's going on. Like, everybody's spiraling after 3 seasons of this wilderness and all of this. But Travis is pretty pissed at the fact that they were almost able to escape has now been hindered by Lottie, Shauna, and Ty convincing the rest of the group to stay. And they put Hannah and Cody into the animal pen until they can figure out what they're going to do. So Travis makes the pit in an effort to kill Lottie, it seems, because he asks her to come out with him to talk, and he just wants to lead her into the pit. They have a conversation where he says that he's done with this and he's mad at what she's doing, keeping the rest of the group, and that they almost were able to escape. And she's able to walk through the pit, almost like a Jesus Christ-like moment. And Travis seems to become now a believer because she doesn't fall in the pit, and she's able to come back out and just look at him like, yeah, nothing happened because I'm like in tune with the wilderness. So Travis could definitely be flipping back into believing all of the things that Lottie speaks about due to him witnessing, like, quote unquote miracle of Lottie surviving the pit. We do see Melissa start to connect with Hannah a bit, and that's something that we knew was going to happen as it was mentioned in the adult timeline. And she talks to her about her daughter, and they sort of have a moment which causes Shauna to get pissed. Shauna is trying to question Melissa about if she really knows what Hannah's true intentions are and if she can trust her. This causes a big disruption between the two, and a fight ensues. All of it leading into Melissa calling Shauna fucking nuts, and then we see Shauna putting the gun towards her and shooting at her in order to scare her, which causes Melissa to pee her pants, and everybody's just looking in shock and in terror, right? And it's crazy how much Shauna has been able to sort of become the alpha sorts of the group, and I think it all stems back from Shauna being the one that does the butchering and all of that for them, and that makes them sort of be like, well, you know, Shauna's kind of like the leader of sorts, and she has been pulling us through, kept us fed, and cooked all of the stuff that we've been eating. So I don't know, I think I'm gonna follow her. I think that's kind of the idea that the group has towards Shauna, that wants to keep listening to her, is they see her as an alpha male, sort of like a mother almost, I would say. I think that they really truly believe Shauna is their sort of savior of sorts, and they could just be scared of her. Like, they think she is capable of anything, and she's shown that she is. And I think that's exactly why the group is kind of able to sort of bend the knee for Shauna a lot, which is crazy to see. Now, what we also see is we see that Natalie, Jen, Mari, and Akila are plotting an escape with Hannah. They let her know this as well. They decide to give her a knife in order for her to be able to cut through the rope and then free Cody so they can all escape at night, and whoever wants to stay can stay. Now, we see that Melissa joins this effort with them after the fallout with Shauna, and it's clear that she is done with her. So the plan is set in motion, and they are going to go ahead and escape with them. Hannah is able to sort of untie herself with the knife, but then she kind of starts to question Cody and everything that he's carrying, the gear having a different name, which Cody just says that I just bought at a second-hand store. There's nothing to fret. Give me the knife. We got to get out of here. But we then see that Shauna catches both of them after they untie themselves, and she asks, who gave you that knife? And we see that Hannah says Cody had that knife and he gave it to me, and then stabs him in the eye. So Hannah clearly doesn't want to let Nat and all of them take the blame, but I think it's a lot deeper than that. I think that Hannah has sort of of become like accustomed or sort of wants to survive of sorts. And she sees that there is no way out of this. Shauna was going to shoot both of them regardless if she said that Nat gave her the knife or that she didn't want to do this. And I think pinning it on Cody and then eventually killing him was a kind of a way for her to show that, hey, I'm in tune with y'all. I want to do what you're doing. And she even says that I want to be a part of this. She is fascinated by the way the girls have survived, as she tells Melissa, and sees it in a way, I think, as research for her as well. So I don't know if this is Hannah also being scared, or Hannah is fascinated, or Hannah truly wants to belong here. And it could just be a mixture of all of those things. I think Hannah is really looking out for herself, and she knows this is a way to survive. She is a scientist of animals and all of that. And I think that she sees a sort of very animalistic, natural survival that the girls are having here, and realizes maybe this is the only way she's going to get out of here alive. We clearly know it's not the way that happens, but we'll see what Hannah's fate will be. But now Hannah is a part of the tribe, it seems. Now, during all of this as well, we see that Van is sneaking out, and it looks like Van is trying to fix the radio, and something that Misty catches onto as well. And I thought that Misty was going to sort of snitch about this or try to hinder these plans, but it looks like Misty might be the one that wants to be the one that saves the girls, because we see that Misty goes back to the transponder, which she had hidden before in the first season, I believe, or second season, because she didn't want them to be rescued. And now she's thinking, hey, maybe we can use some of these things in order to fix the radio, which is something that Misty is trying to do, it seems, I believe. And I hope so. I think Misty truly wants to be the hero of the story, but truly doesn't want to be alone as well. Be a thing that kind of messes with her psyche of thinking, right? Like, if I get them this and I get the help and all of that, that means we're gone, and we're not going to have this whole kumbaya, we're together type of scenario, right? So I think it's going to be interesting to see how Misty handles all of this as well. But the biggest thing that happens for the teenage timeline is that it starts snowing. And of course, we know what snow is going to bring. And it was just a great scene where we see Jen and we see Melissa come to tell the rest of the girls that are waiting for Cody and Hannah, it ain't happening. We're staying here. We saw what happened. Hannah killed Cody, and now Shauna knows everything, and we just gonna have to stay. And we just see Nat bawl her eyes out at the fact that they're gonna have to stay here another winter because snow just starts falling all around them, and it's just like, it's over. We're just here to stay now, it seems. And it was just a great moment for the season right here. So we see as Nat is just trying to like take it all in, and she also confronts Misty when she sees her messing with the transponder. So I'm curious to see how Nat is gonna sort of like react to the situation of Misty having the transponder, or does she even care and wants to just get it fixed and get out of here as well? I think that's going to be a crucial thing we're going to see in the upcoming episode as well. So that's where the teenage timeline ends. Now with the adult timeline, let's go back. We were seeing that Van came in to rescue Ty and Shauna. We see that evil Ty has sort of been subdued by the good Ty as well, and good Ty's out now, right? But we see that when Van tries to go back to help Melissa, she unties her and she's about to kill her because she says that maybe this is what she has to do in order to survive, and this is what it wants. To what Melissa says, this isn't you, but if you want to do it, do it. And we see that Van cannot do this, and she just is like, okay, I can't do it, I'm sorry. And she embraces Melissa, but then we see Melissa grab the knife and stab and kill Van. And Melissa's like, but I can. Implying that I think that Melissa is still a believer of the wilderness, and everything she told Shauna was kind of bullshit as well. So that's something we see right there happen as we see that Melissa escapes and Shauna and Ty come back in to witness Van die. And we see her in the airplane, just as we saw with Natalie and young Natalie. Now it's Van and young Van. And pretty much telling her, yeah, this is where our story ends, but you still got to stick around to see why it's so important, which I'm curious about that whole thing. And we'll talk about a theory that I've seen float around and I'm starting to think about as well next week, because it's starting to kind of make more sense as to what is going on here. So stay tuned for that video next week. But we also see Jeff and Callie briefly are trying to contemplate an escape from Shauna as well throughout the episode. And I think that that's definitely something we're going to see. So let's go over the little trailer we just got for the next episode briefly before we end the video and talk about the ending a little bit more. But we'll talk more about this trailer and theories for the finale in the video on Monday, so stay tuned for that. But something that I thought was so interesting we see in the next episode is going to be Shauna opening a closet with empty hangers, as well as Callie and Jeff seemingly breaking down. So I think Jeff and Callie are definitely out of here. They're gone from Shauna's life. Shauna is literally alone at this point and at her lowest. So another interesting thing as well is going to be that Lottie seems to be very present in the next episode, whether that's her dying or whatever the case may be. I think that we definitely will find out what happened to Lottie in this coming episode, and I think Misty already has an idea, and it seems to be something very dark as well, I think. But one of the biggest things about the next episode is that we are going to be seeing another sacrifice happen. According to Lottie, we need another sacrifice. And even Shauna is saying we have to respect it. So we have to give it something, right? And we see that a hunt is going to ensue. And I'm wondering, is this Hannah right here, right now that she has fully become a yellow jacket, right? Is she really out here doing this? Now, I think that who they're eating here is going to be Cody, or it could be the final sacrifice right before they're saved. Could the final episode next week just be them getting saved, and then the next season is them readjusting to coming back into civilization? I wonder if that's the case right there, because we do see that Lottie has sort of a vision of the Antler Queen. And what this seems to me is, and many have pointed out, is could this just be rescue lights coming to find whatever happened out here? So that's something that's interesting to really take into account here as to what's happening, right? And we also see this picture right here, Van and Ty crying. Could they have messed with the cards and they sort of like made one of the people here die because it's like they chose who was going to die right throughout. So I think that's an interesting aspect right here of the trailer, but we'll see what happens. I'll have more theories for you on Monday when I rewatch certain things and all of that. But let me know what you thought about this episode. I thought it was so crazy that Van actually died, and Cody, I didn't expect 2 deaths, right? And I'm very curious as to what young Van means when she tells the older Van that this is just what needed to happen in order to showcase what this is all really about. That's something that's interested me since I heard that. And there's been a lot of theories in the past about purgatory and all of that, which we'll talk about as well in another video next Wednesday. So stay tuned for that. The season's really getting heated up to end on a high note, I feel. And the fact that we're going to see another sacrifice be made, another chase, and all of that just has me wondering how it's going to play out, because clearly half of the girls are against this, the other half are for it. But do they all just fall in line because now it's winter, you have to survive, you have to do what it takes? And I think it's easier for Shauna to sort of assert herself as a leader now, because it's like, Cody's gone, you're not getting out of here. Hannah's flipped, she's not going to help you at all. You have to eat, you have to like participate, or else we'll just kill you, pretty much. So it's like you're backed into a corner and you just have to do what they want you to do. So we'll see what happens. Let me know your thoughts and opinions on this episode. I was shocked when Van died. I was pretty pissed about it too, because I thought Melissa was gonna be the sane one at a point, but it seems that maybe Shauna's whole speech about you have to be the only one that survives really got to her, and now we're seeing her just become this person that's like, I gotta take them all out before they take me out, you know? Like, she is in full survival mode, and I wonder how her family's gonna react to everything that just happened in their home. Like, do the Yellowjackets make it out of there that quick, right? Do they really get Van and all of that cleaned up and get out of the house and nothing happens? Which it's a little unbelievable, but we'll see what happens. Let me know in the comments down below your thoughts and opinions on this episode. Truly an insane episode. Cannot wait to talk more Yellowjackets with y'all, so stay tuned for the theory video on Monday. Just wanted to talk about the episode and what comes next. Melissa's out there. She's unhinged at this point. I think she's been radicalized by Shauna enough. Now we know that she didn't do the brakes because the brakes apparently were the faulty car. Comment below what you think is going to be happening next. Who do you think is going to be Pit Girl? Because I'm pretty sure that's the next scene we're going to be watching in the finale. And could potential rescue just come at that very moment? That's something I've theorized before. So comment below your thoughts and opinions. Who is the Antler Queen? Who is Pit Girl? And where do we go next in the next season? We'll have a theory video for what season 4 could potentially be as well. I think we'll probably have like 4 Yellowjackets videos next week. We'll talk about theories. We'll talk about more of what season 4 could look like and the potential finale of what it could be. So stay tuned. Make sure you hit the subscribe and notification bell. We're on the road to 40,000 subscribers. We are less than 1,000 from that, I believe, at this point. So super excited to get to it. And I'll see all of you next time. Stay safe. Stay positive.